Hey, help your boy out. Turn on the notification bell. Alright, boys. As you can see, this is a Chrome tab. And if you watched the previous Gwent video, I asked, if anyone was interested. And Daniel said he was in the comments, so, I'm going to make it. If anybody else is interested, you can thank Daniel. If not, kill yourself. I don't care. I'm doing it anyways. Also, I'm going to turn off the webcam for the trailer, just so it doesn't take up like a corner of the screen, but I'll turn it back on as we go. Also, I about vomited just then, so... Pipe.
We've awaited this far too long.
Good old Detlaff, or Detloff, however you want to say it.
Hunted by those who live in comfort and opulence.
The knights in the Blood and Wine DLC are making it into Gwent. Hog.
The Crimson Curse is unleashed.
All the and vampires under Detloff. Big gay.
Hunters now become our prey.
And then a big chungy boy. New bleed effect there. Shielding as well, also new. Poison also is new. Recharging other vampires through bloodshed. Blitty. 100 new cards. You hear that, chat? 100 new cards. Damn, I love this trailer. I love CD Projekt Red. They're so good. Everything about them, so good. Oh, just webcam activate. All right, we back, chat. I hope you enjoyed that trailer, because if you didn't, like I said before, kill yourself. So now we're going to move on to the actual cards here. And I'm going to go through all this. I'm going to try to make it pretty quick, because I don't want to be here forever, I have a list over here on my left on this other monitor to show what these new effects are, because I don't exactly know off the top of my head all of them. But without further ado, we're going to yeet into the cards. Alright, Rune Word. It gives an ally a shield, and then you can give a Vitality for 4 turns. And Vitality is a status that boosts a unit by 1 on turn end. So, or on its turn end. So you give an allied unit a shield, then you give it Vitality. So you give it the shield, and a shield is basically like a status that blocks the next point of damage. So you're in theory giving it like 1 health or 1 extra health, and then you give it 4 health if it lives. So I don't know what this costs, because I don't have the provision cost or whatever for any of these, but pretty good for a spell card. Dryad's Caress, or Caress, I guess that's what that was. Sorry, I'm autistic.
Dryad's Caress.
Give an allied unit Vitality for 6 turns. If you control a Dryad, purify that unit first. Purify removes all statuses, so that means locks, bleeding, shields, all of that counts as status. You yeet all of that, and then you give it Vitality, which is basically 6 health if it makes it to the end. Tourney Joust, remove an enemy unit shield, and then either damage the unit by 3 or give an allied unit a shield for 3. Boom. And, oh no. Remove an enemy unit's shield, then either damage it by 3. So you give, the ability of a shield away from the enemy, and then you hurt it by 3. Or you give your allied unit a shield, and then boost it by 3. So, boom. Moondust is to purify a unit and then damage it by 4. Purify removes all status effects, and then it hurts it by 4. So say it has like a shield or whatever, and it's a 4-star unit, or 4 health unit. So if it had the shield, it would be 5. So you remove the shield, it's back to 4, you use Moondust, and it dies. Boom. Thaw is clear all row effects from your side and boost an allied unit by 4. For every row effect cleared, decrease the boost by 2. If they had 2 rows and you use this, you would boost by nothing, because you'd clear both rows. But if you're only clearing 1, you clear the effect and you get a boost out of it. So weather get by the way. Alright, Sandstorm is damage a unit at both ends of a turn, or both ends of an enemy row by 3. So if there's only 2 on there, they would both get hurt. But if there's multiple, it only does the ones on the very end of the row. And that's like a 6-point damage thing, but that's reliant on them having 2. So, depending on how high this provision is, this one's pretty bad. Salmon Bomb. Alright, it's not Salmon Bomb, but I know what it is. I played Witcher. You. Damage a unit by 3, and then it has a secondary effect, which is Death Blow, which is new. So you move an adjacent unit to another row. Death Blow is trigger this ability if this card destroys a unit. So if something is 3 health and Samum destroys that because it does 3 damage, then it activates Death Blow and it moves the adjacent units, so the cards touching the card that you destroyed to the other row. That could be pretty litty, especially for like Witchers or something. It's like another Arrakis Venom or something. Pretty good. Feast of Blood is give an enemy unit bleeding for 6 turns. If you control a vampire, purify it first. So, you know, purify status effect. We already know that. The bleeding thing is 1 damage per turn end on that card's turn. So you give this, you know, bleeding for 6 turns, and if they don't purify their own card or they don't deal with it, then he's going to take 6 damage by the end of it. So that's pretty good. All right, Primal Savagery is damage an enemy unit by 2, death blow, spawn and summon a bear abomination on a random allied row. So I don't know what the bear abomination is, but you know, the death blow is if it kills something or whatever, it gets to use that. So if you hurt something with another card or like a spear or like rock or somebody, whoever you're playing, whatever, and then you death blow it, it gets to spawn a unit. And I have no idea how the unit is, but it's a free unit from this card, so Liddy. Devil's Puffball is damage a unit by 2 and give it poison. Death Blow, give it poison to adjacent units. So that's pretty good. That would also be another thing to, like, if you had another form of damage like Croc, you damage something by 1, then you hit it with 2, it gives that card poison. If you kill that card, then it gives poison to the adjacent units. So again, Witchers or something would be cool on that. Pretty good card. Undying Thirst is to give an enemy unit bleeding for 6 turns. That's 6 points of damage if they don't deal with it or purify it or whatever. So, you know, that's pretty good. And on these cards, as long as they're not above the 6 damage or whatever by much, you know, they're pretty close to provision cost, but I don't have the provision cost for cards, so keep that in mind. The Spring Equinox is purify all your units on a row. So if you had a whole row of just people that were getting skull by bleeding, I guess this would be good, but I can't see this card being that great because I feel like they're going to focus 1 card, maybe 2, and then, you know, you're only getting use out of 2. So if this provision cost is high, it's not going to be that great. Garcane is deploy. It damages a bleeding enemy unit by the amount of bleeding it has. So if you played a card like this, or where the hell, yeah, this, where it's doing 6, and then you played this, it would damage the card by 6, at least from my understanding. The Envoy it has formation, and it has an order as well. Give 2 charges to an allied unit. Formation is if played on the melee row, gain zeal. If played on the ranged row, boost self by 1. So if you play it melee, you get to use the unit's like order ability instantly. If you play it on ranged, it has 1 more health, so it has 3. I think most people would probably play that on melee. The boosting by 1 isn't that great in my opinion, but whatever. Okay, the Broccoli Sentinel, if you want to call it that. Deploy. It damages an enemy unit by 2. It's a 2 strength card. It has a death blow of summon a copy of this unit from your deck to this row. So you would have to have another of this in your deck. As far as I'm aware, you have to have another one. But if you kill something with 2, it summons another version of this card, which I assume has that same ability. Maybe not. I don't know. Who knows? The Dryad Ranger, it has Harmony as its base like skill or whatever. It also has Deploy. Damage an enemy unit by 2. If it survived, give it poison. So Harmony is boost self by 1 whenever you play a Scoia'tael unit with a primary category. So basically what that's meaning is like, what's a card with both? Okay, we're gonna make this out like it's not. Like, we're gonna say Feast of Blood is a unit, right? It's a vampire first, then it's got a comma, and then it's a beast. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. It has to have this, like a Dryad, as its main category. So it could be Dryad Slut as its second, because, you know, she's naked, so she's a slut. The Knight has deploy melee, damage a unit by 2. It also has death blow, gain vitality for 2 turns. So, you know, it's a 2-point card. You play it on melee, it does 2. So you're up to 4 value already. And then it has death blow. So if it kills something with the 2, it gains vitality. And vitality, again, is a status that boosts a unit by 1 on turn end. So he gets 2 health out of it. So you're looking at a 6-point card here. And, you know, that's pretty good depending on his provision cost, but it also is equivalent to them not being able to kill it instantly because he only has 2 health, so it's not that hard to deal with. The Spladbold Ravenger, Jesus Christ if I could talk, it has deploy melee, damage enemy by 2, bloodthirst of 2, and then you give the enemy damaged by this unit bleeding for 2 turns. So you damage an enemy by 2. If you have Bloodthirst out, which is, you know, the like whatever, if stuff is hurt or whatever within a certain amount, two cards are hurt, he gets to give the enemy damaged by the unit or whatever to bleeding. So a 4 thing if you have 2 things that are hurt. Pretty good. Then you move on over. You have a Bruxa, which, you know, if you haven't seen the Witcher trailer with the Bruxa, like Witcher 3, you should watch it. I'll link it down in the description below because it's litty. And you deploy an enemy unit by 2. It has Death Blow and it gains Thrive. So this card seems broken. It starts out as a 2, so it's at the same power as a Necker, but it's more, I guess it's more like a Drowner or whatever, where it's a 2-point unit. You play it, it damages a unit by 2. But then if you kill something, so if you kill a Necker or a Drowner or whatever, it gains Thrive. So then it becomes like a card that you could play on bigger stuff, and it gains, like, you know, health per time that you do that. That's nuts. The Plumard. Deploy, give an enemy unit bleeding for 2 turns, and it has Bonded. Give an enemy bleeding for 4 turns instead. Bonded, if I could find it over here, where the hell is it at? Trigger this ability if you control a copy of this card. So if you, I don't know if that means like in the deck in general, or if that means in play or whatever, but if you don't have one, it does 2 damage of bleeding. If you have another one, it does 4. So that card is pretty good. It goes from a 5-point card to a 7-point card. Math is hard. Deploy, damage an enemy unit by 2. If Alp is under Blood Moon, drain an enemy unit by 2 instead. Alright, I went and looked up Blood Moon or whatever, and all I found was like a previous version of Gwent where it was an actual card, like a spell card. So I assume that's either going to be tied to a leader now, it's going to be another card maybe in this list that I haven't scrolled past yet. But if that card or that leader ability or whatever is in play, then she drains an enemy by 2. And I assume that just means take health because it's not on the list over here. So, you know, it could be pretty good, but that's situational as to what Blood Moon is and what it costs to play. Imperial Diviner is Assimilate as her main ability, and then Deploy, Purifier unit. Assimilate is boost self by 1 whenever you play a card that is not from your starting deck. So that's okay. It's not great. It's an extra point or whatever. But the other thing is, like on Deploy, she purifies the unit. So you're gaining 1 thing, and then you get to purify either something of yours or something of theirs to deal with. So, I mean, I guess it's okay. It's like a 4-point, maybe a 5-point card. So, you know. Tyrian Artificer, or Artificer, or whatever, is Formation. And its order is give an allied unit a shield. So if you play it on melee, it gets Zeal. It can do this instantly. If you play it on ranged, it gets 1 health. Again, I think most people are going to play on melee, so. The Forest Whisperer. Deploy melee, give an enemy unit poison. Deploy ranged, give an allied unit a shield. So, this is one of the cards where you get a choice. You don't get both of these, you get to choose. If you go melee, you give an enemy unit poison, which I assume... Okay, if a unit has 2 poison statuses, destroy it. Okay, so that means 1 unit gives poison. The next unit to give them poison, they die. So that's a status that they either have to deal with or they can choose to ignore and hope you don't have another poison. Ranged is a shield where it's basically 1 health is free, and if they lose it, it doesn't really cost that card anything other than the shield. So if you have another poison, this would be great removal. If not, then I think the shield is going to be played more, honestly. Flitter. Deploy, destroy an allied unit and gain 4 vitality, or vitality for 4 turns. So you kill something, you gain 4 health for or 1 health a turn for 4 turns. That's pretty good. Play that on a super low card or a card that's already had its like order used or whatever. Pretty Gucci boy. Alright, Necurat. It has an order on melee to drain an enemy unit by 1, which I mean, I assume that takes 1 health. Maybe it adds 1 health to you. Because, again, that's not over here, but it has a cooldown of 2. Whenever you play an organic card, reduce this unit's cooldown by 1. So it can continually keep doing this on a 2-turn basis or whatever. So, you know, it could, if it gives health to itself, that's really good. If it just takes the health away from that, it's okay. The Dryad Matron. Every allied turn on turn end, move to the rightmost spot on the row and boost an allied unit on the left by 1. This would be good as long as you're not row stacking, because I assume this doesn't, you know, counter the row stack where it jumps on that side anyways and then boosts and goes back. If it can't move there, he probably doesn't use this effect, but if you're not row stacking, this could be good. The Sladbold Butcher is deploy damage an ally unit by 2 and then give an enemy unit bleeding for 3 turns. So this is a 4, but it hurts your own by 2. So that takes it down to a 2-point card or whatever. But then it gives bleeding to an enemy for 3. So if they don't cleanse it, you know, that's 3 damage, and then this is a 4-point unit. So that's okay. Not bad. Duchess's Informant. Spying, deploy, spawn, and play a base copy of a non-spying unit. Now, do you get to choose? Does it just pick one at random and plays it? Like, I have no idea. I'm also turning on the fan because it's hot as balls in here. I hope the fan doesn't pick up in the mic, but if it does, Sladbold Fanatic, it has Berserk, transform into a Bear Abomination. Okay, Berserk is trigger this ability when this unit is at half or less than its base power. Now, I don't know if it rounds up, I don't know if it rounds down, but half of this would be 2. So at 2 health, if you don't kill it or whatever, 2 or below, it transforms into a Bear Abomination, and I assume it regains that health or whatever the Bear Abomination is. But I don't know what that card is, so I don't know how to tell what that is. So, alright guys, after that jump cut, we're back with Watchman. Order to give an adjacent unit a shield. You know, a 4-point unit, it gives a shield. It's like a 5-point deal, and that's okay. Disgraced Brawler is a 7-point unit that has a Bloodthirst of 3 to lock this unit. So it also has Berserk, where, you know, if it gets below half or below, it destroys itself. Like, because that's what Berserk does. So if you have 3 out, you lock it so that it doesn't Berserk and kill itself. If you don't though, and then they hurt it to, I guess, either 4 or 3, whichever one they want to round to, then it dies. So that card is risk. The Curse of Corruption is to destroy the highest unit. It's going to be just easy removal, especially for monsters. So free removal. The Scepter of Storms, it has Zeal and an order, and the order is to spawn and play a Biting Frost, Impenetrable Fog, or Torrential Rain. So, I mean, you don't even have to put those in your deck now. Those cards don't have to be in there because it spawns that from this card. So this is free weather, depending on how much this card costs. This will be Rampant. This will be Cancerous. Portal is to deploy, summon 2 random units from a 4 provision cost from your deck on both sides of this unit. So if you're playing low cost provisions, this card pulls both of them every time. So that's going to be also a good card. Then we're on down here to Crimson Curse. Destroy an allied unit, then apply a Blood Moon row effect to both allied rows and set its duration equal to the destroyed unit's power. Blood Moon. On turn start, boost a random vampire on this row. So vampires are the only cards that apparently get benefits from the Crimson Curse or the Blood Moon, whatever you want to call it. But if you have a vampire deck or you're running a lot of vampires and you do this, it's basically free health every 2 turns for however long that the allied row duration effect was by what you killed. Knighthood is split 6 boost randomly between all units on an allied row. If you only have 1 unit, he gets all 6. If you have more than that, it splits it. I don't know how they deviate that if you have more than 6, but it's probably just a random choice then. The Water of Broccolon. Spawn and summon a Dryad Fledgling to an allied row. If you control a Dryad, spawn and summon 2 Dryad Fledglings to an allied row. So this card would be okay in the Scoia'tael deck that it's going to be in or whatever if you're running Dryads. If you control 1 though, you get 2 instead of 1. So it's always better to play this afterwards. Like this would be a bad card to start out with, but if you play another Dryad or something beforehand, then it would be pretty good. It's just free provision cost on top of this card, just free cards. So the Treant Mantis Stalk. Ambush, give the next unit played by your opponent poison and transform into a Treant Mantis Strike. It also has Zeal Order, transform into a Treant Mantis Strike. Okay, Ambush is let me Google that real quick. I'll be back. All right, I'm low IQ and I couldn't find it, but I assume this it's like a trap effect almost, where it gives the next unit played by your opponent poison, and then this card transforms into Strike. Or you can use the order and use it immediately, where it just immediately turns into that power. That's what I'm going to assume. The Hin Guideth Sword is deploy, damage an enemy by 2. Death Blow is spawn and play a copy of the destroyed unit. So this could be nuts, especially on cards that like buff themselves or whatever, or like what is that? The King of Beggars or whatever. Where if you manage to kill him, not only do you kill him with this, but you also get to play a copy of him. So free points for you. Hog. Alright, Hebrew. This is Sangreal, and it boosts a unit by 6 and gives it a shield. So this is just a 7-point card. Pretty good. Orlay, I don't even know how the you're supposed to say that. But you deploy and destroy an enemy artifact and boost self by its cost. So, you know, this would have been great when Ethne was running rampant and everyone had Ethne and like the big spears and the damn sword of a million sadnesses. But not a lot of people play artifacts anymore, other than I guess the golem thing that pulls stuff out of your deck. I forget its damn name, but you know what I'm talking about if you've played the game. And yeah, this card's doo-doo. Roderick of Duntine, he's a spying card. Deploy, look at 2 random gold cards from your deck and play 1. So he's a 2-point card, but he gets to pull a gold from your deck at random. So, you know, it's pretty good, especially if you're in a deck that thins. So it just ups the chance if your deck is lighter. Fog is deploy, play a nature card from your deck. So in any nature-esque card, she gets to just yoink. I assume you get to pick and play, and if you do, she's even better. But even if it's at random, still pretty good. One Helm of Atri is shield every turn, or every allied turn on turn in. Boost this unit by 2 if it has a shield. So it gives itself a shield, and then if it has a shield, it boosts by 2 every turn. So that card could get out of control if nobody has a lock or a purify or something. Vivian Debris, or D Tabris. Deploy, set this unit's cost, or this unit's power equal to its cost. So I don't have a damn clue what that's supposed to mean other than its provision cost, and I don't have access to that, so I don't know. Gale is deploy, damage enemy unit by 1, death blow, boost self by the destroyed enemy power's base or whatever. So again, this is a 3-point card. It does 1 damage, so it's a 4-point card. If it damages something and it's on 1, it gets the power of that base unit. So think of like a spear tip is now a 12. If you somehow got spear tip down to a 1 and you killed it with Gale, this would not only get the 1 for killing it or whatever, but it gets 12 because it's spear tip. Boom. Fisher King, deploy ranged, put any card from your deck at the top. This is just like, you know, cards that pull from the top, like some of the spying cards. This would help. So good card. Regis Bloodlust, deploy, damage an enemy unit by 4. It has a reach of 2. Death blow, banish it. So if you kill something or whatever with this card and it does 4 damage, which is quite a bit, and it has a reach of 2, then you banish it. So it doesn't even go to the graveyard. It's just gone. It's gone from their deck. They can't draw it again. They can't gain power from it, whatever. It's gone. This is a card that you can't see. So you're welcome. Thank you for adding this, Gwent. I love showing this in the video. I love talking about it. I appreciate it. All right, boys, we're on the final stretch here. We're at Damien de la Torre. It has an order of refresh your leader's ability. Now, does that mean by 1 or does that mean as a whole? Because if this is the case, your boy gonna stop playing. Because imagine that dickhead with the 3 boosts gets to whip his hand through the air 6 times through a game and get 12 points instead of 6. Absolutely not. Or if you play this on the what's his face, that son of a that doesn't give you your your leader ability. That dickhead with the tiny sword, the bald guy. I put him on screen. What do you get from him? Is this even playable on him? Does it even do anything? Kudak. Weird guy dancing on a table. Deploy and purify adjacent units. So you play this in between something that's getting its skull by blood, and it'll fix it. He's a doctor and also a wackadoo. King Roganer, or Roganer, I don't know how to say it. Deploy melee, remove shields from all units, then boost self by 3 for every shield removed. So now when it says all units, does that mean every single unit on the board, yours and their side? Or is it just your side, just their side, whatever? They need to specify all this horses. Because as of right now, it's everything. And if that's the case, and you're playing like Meve or somebody where they're boosting, giving everybody shields, this could be pretty good. Otherwise, Siraso has Harmony. Deploys and damages an enemy unit by 2. As a death blow of boost a unit in hand by 2. So Harmony is boost self by 1 whenever you play a Scoia'tael unit with a primary category tag. So if you play that card, then you get to deploy, whatever. If you kill something with your deploy, then you boost a unit in your hand by 2. And I don't know if that's random or if you get to choose or whatever, but that's pretty good. Ernie Shalomar, deploy melee, damage a Nilfgaardian enemy unit by 7. Deploy ranged, boost self by 2 for every non-Nilfgaardian unit from your opponent's faction under your control. Now, this card I feel like is kind of hard to get off. Like, if you're playing against another Nilfgaard deck, then You get 7 damage out of this card. It's a 4 card, like a 4 power unit. That's pretty good, but that's very situational. And then deploy ranged is boost self by 2 for every non-Nilfgaard unit from your opponent's faction under your control. So you have to have that card. So both sides of this card are situational as hell, and I don't think it's going to get that much use. But, you know, what do I know? Corrupted Flamingo. Deploy, and you destroy an enemy or an allied beast to the right. Then boost self by its power and give an enemy unit bleeding for an equal number of turns. So you destroy something to your right on your ally, as long as it's a beast. When you destroy it, whatever the base power is of that unit, you also boost by that and bleed by that to your enemy. So this card would be good in Skellige, which is what it is, and like a Beastmaster deck or whatever, where if something dies and it goes in the graveyard, it actually helps you with your Beastmaster, or your Bearmasters, I mean. So that's pretty lit. Gregory de Gorgon. Deploy melee, damage an enemy unit by 1. Death Blow is boost self by 6 and gain a shield, so technically 7 boost there. If you kill something that has 1 health or whatever with him. So he goes from a 4-point card to a 10-point card if you kill the 1. That's insane. Musicians of Blaviken. Deploy, randomly gain either a shield, immunity, resilience, or poison. So this card is the old 50-50 RNG gang, and all the retards out there will play this card. If you gain shield, you gained 1 point, the card's dog. If you gain immunity, you hit gold, you're really good at the game. If you hit resilience, you hit gold as long as you're on round 3. You're really good at the game. If you get poison, you're the most unlucky human alive, and you're probably going to kill your own unit or yourself. Queen of the Night. Deploy melee, give an enemy unit bleeding for 4 turns. Deploy ranged, purify a unit. Okay, so this is a 5-point card. Purify can be anywhere from 1 point to like 6 points of worth generally, so probably play that. Deploy melee gives a unit bleeding for 4 turns, but that's only if they can't purify, and I assume most people are going to have cards that purify because they're new. So when this card comes out, it'll be bad. It'll get better as it goes though. Artists. Play him ranged. Whenever unit is played, damage it by half of its power rounded up. So now, whenever a unit is played, does that mean this unit and it damages itself by that number, or does that mean any unit just constantly where it's gonna hurt itself by half of its power rounded up? Who knows? Here's another secretive card that's not out yet. You know, I'm not coming back to make this video again when they release more as they go on, but you know, it's there. The Palmerin de Lafanel, or Lafen, or whatever, Lawnfall. Deploy, damage an enemy unit by 2. Death Blow, give adjacent allied unit shield. If Milton is in your hand, trigger Death Blow on deploy. So whoever the hell Milton is, if he's in your hand, you get an extra, you know, Death Blow on deploy. Who cares? Who gives a This card's gonna be litty. It's another Serret Nox. Sigvald, order is to damage an enemy unit by 1, has a reach of 2 and a cooldown of 1. It has a Berserk as well. Damage a unit by 2 instead. So Berserk is if it gets to half or under, it uses this ability. So in this case, it would be 3 or 4, whatever, however they want to round it. And you damage by 2. So, and I guess the Berserk is also on a cooldown, which would be nuts. Nut of Kalos, nut. Deploy, damage an enemy or damage an allied unit to the right by half of its power, then damage an enemy unit by that amount. So this is a give and take like the ships. You damage your own, but you damage by half, and then you give that other half to the enemy. So it's not bad. The Great Oak. Deploy, damage an enemy unit by the number of cards to the left or self, then boost self by the number of cards to the right or self. So again, this card could be good, but it's situational. If you're row stacking 1 row and then you play this card, it's pretty good. If you played like a long round 2 and then you're a short round 3, this card's not going to get much value. So, you know, this has been the Crimson Curse. One last thing to show you before I go, and they showed this off on the stream, but I wasn't actually recording in the stream. I didn't want to go yank the VOD in lower quality. But some beautiful Reddit user posted this. This is I think you get this for pre-ordering. This is the card back from Crimson Curse, and it's like a 2.5D-esque thing where it gives some depth to the card when it's turned around. And I think it looks litty, but I'm pretty sure you have to pre-order this to get it right now, and it's $40. So absolutely not. Noah, get me the hell out of this video. Y'all.